for new educators because there's a lot to learn and understand about State Fair if you're new, and I think even if you're not new, there's always new things to remember and figure out, and it's always great to have people with a lot of experience on the phone. So we're hoping, we're going to present a lot of information, but we're hoping you'll ask questions, and sometimes the easiest way to do that is to put it in the chat box if you have a question, so that we know what it is that we might be missing that you're interested in knowing about. So we also would ask everybody to mute your phones if you're not talking, so we can avoid background noise. And we are going to go ahead and get started, I think. We're still missing Tom Davis, who should be joining us momentarily. So this is a list of people who we consider our leadership team in the youth building. It's hard to define that too closely because there's lots and lots of people that get involved in helping to lead in the youth building. So this is not a comprehensive list of everyone that certainly helps lead at State Fair. Tom Dumas is kind of our head guy in the youth building. He's the one we go to. He has all the answers, knows everybody, knows what to do about everything. So he's our head guru for State Fair, and I don't even know what we would do without him. I'll be at Fair pretty much the whole time, representing the State 4-H office. So Nigel Gannon will be there most of the time, and Adam Davis we're going to see a lot more this year too. And Adam serves as our computer and technology person and helps get all the stuff up to Fair that we need. Tom Davis will also be at Fair the whole time. He helps us just generally run the building, but he also is in charge of the junior superintendents and is helping to organize the team leaders and does all kinds of things. Pam Castro, we love to have Pam up with us every year. She does the evaluators, so that's an invaluable job. We couldn't get exhibits evaluated without Pam. Marty Dumas helps us runs the dorm basically with Tom, and so she's also an invaluable partner. We're really lucky to have Tom and Marty, who work for the State Fair, running the dorm for us, because it really gives us someone who is always looking out for 4-H and knows what's best for us, and that's a really great situation for us. Jennifer Jensen's with us today. Jennifer chairs the State Fair Advisory Committee, and everybody has a representative from their district on the State Fair Advisory Committee. Jennifer's filling in for Pam today because she wasn't able to join us. We have a group of junior superintendents every year in the building that Tom Davis is in charge of, and we have some great junior superintendents coming back and some new ones, so they're always also an invaluable part of the building. We couldn't run the building without them either, so that's a great leadership experience for young people. And then we have the people that are overall coordinators for different areas in the building, such as Mary Fairley for Fashion Review, and Malone for Energy and Geospatial, and John Bowe for Shooting Sports, and folks like that. And they recruit key leaders who are educators or sometimes volunteers who are in the building time period, helping run those areas. And we also could not run the State Fair building without those people, because those things just wouldn't be able to happen. So it takes a lot of people to make the State Fair successful. So great team to work with, and a lot of fun. I guess this is okay, so hopefully everyone who has anything to do with the State Fair is familiar with the web pages, because they are very, very important. I don't know that you could get organized and ready for State Fair without accessing these web pages. So there is a main State Fair web page that you can come to if you go to events and then the State Fair, and that has some general information and some information for your families and 4-H members. The materials that we put up for the educators mostly are on this second page that's called Information for Staff and Key Volunteers. So there is a lot of information on this page, tons of information. So pretty much anything you're looking for, you're probably going to find it on this page. So last year when we did this webinar, we came up with just a short list of where you can find things that may or may not be helpful, but you can check it out. So that's the very first thing on that page, where you see the arrow on this picture pointing to that list if you want to download that. So it's just to try to make it a little bit, if you're brand new and this was just felt overwhelming, maybe that document will help you. If you've been around a while, you probably won't have any need for it. This page is very important. We'll come back to things that you'll find on this page.
This is Adam. I'm going to talk a little bit about the dorm pre-registration process. We've sent out a link a couple of times for educators to register their youth and their chaperones online ahead of time. The registration will close on the 18th, at which time I'll kind of package up the registration to move over to the youth building dorm. And after that time, you'll have to register when you arrive at the dorm because the online registration will be closed down. On the website, we have new adult and youth forms. These are important because they have the educator sign-off. So the educator is signing off that the chaperones have been background checked. They're fit to be around children as chaperones. And then we have a youth form that has the signatures for the parents so that we know that the parents are aware that the youth are there and that the educator is aware that that particular chaperone is there. Those can both be found on the web page we just referenced. I'll let Tom Dumas jump in here about the arrival, check-in, and orientation.
Before that happens, we're getting some background noise, so it's possible somebody doesn't have their phone muted or someone maybe has a speaker on a computer or something, so if you could check that, that would help. Thanks. So Tom and Marty Dumas, are you going to say something to us about this? Means you would need to unmute your phone if it's muted.
Okay, I think I got it working right here.
Yep, we hear you.
I'm going to do is let Marty start off with the registration process, and she works with that daily.
So Adam was right. The youth form and adult forms are different, but the youth form requires 3 signatures. That's what we're going to be looking for. The signature of the youth agreeing to follow the rules, the signature of the educator that that person is able to stay in the dorm, and the signature of the parent acknowledging that they're aware of the rules. So when you come to the fair, you'll be bringing those forms with you. And if you registered with Adam ahead of time, we understand that your registration will change. It's just easier if you have that list that Adam makes available for you to print out.
So I'll jump in here and talk about the list. On the info for staff page, I'm actually going to try to jump over there. Give me just a moment here. So on the info for staff page, you'll see that there's the adult resident form, which I alluded to earlier, the youth and adult ones. There's also a group dorm form. What this brings up is a PDF form. It's essentially a big spreadsheet with you can handwrite in the names of the youth, the nights that they're staying, and we have the dates for each day of the fair. And it's important to have the contact information. This is important for both for billing and who we know to get in touch with. Tom and Marty like to have you bring 2 copies of this to the while I'm talking about that, that's something I'm testing out this year, which is a pre-printed out from the Dorm Registration Database, and I'll show you that as well. So what that would look like is a report out of the database. As you can see, the names are pre-filled in. It shows a yes for the days that the youth or adults would be staying at the fair. This is basically all the information that you've put into the dorm registration database, and it's kind of an easy Excel sheet that you can format to give to your chaperone so that they know who they're responsible for. If you want one of those sheets, just send me an email. It's a pretty quick report for me to run, and I'll send it off to you as an Excel file, and you'll let me know how this works out for you.
So if you don't know, if you're not familiar with WebEx, if you go up to the top where there's a little green bar, that's how you get to the chat box. So if you don't have your chat window open, it'd be good to go up and open it. So if you have questions as we're going along, feel free to put them in the chat box, and we'll try to keep an eye on that.
And Tom and Marty, I'll hand it back to you to discuss the chaperones and risk management aspects.
Okay, and this is a good point to start. This year, State Fair has taken a little more preventative measure in the sense that we've changed some of the, or let's say we've enhanced some of the rules on the dormitory list, such as calling no jackknives and and making sure that we follow those kind of rules. The State Fair found that the most active age of shooters happens to be in our teenage age bracket, and they're very concerned that we follow that. You will see that the State Fair is saying that they might check baggage. That may only happen at the gates, and there's an opportunity that if you're bringing young people in, you could have your car searched if you drive in. You could have your bag searched as they come through the gates. We're not taking on the stance of doing any of that kind of searching in the dormitory, but we are going to be paying extra careful attention because that's the way State Fair really wants to have it. The others we are trying to do is not allow any adults in the dormitory that are not cleared to be with young people. That's being held true for all the sports programs, the FFA programs, the other risk programs that we have in the dormitory. Everybody has to follow the same rules. We're very fortunate that State Fair allows the Cornell Cooperative Extension 4-H program to really lay out most of the rules and determine how they're going to function. They have great trust in Cooperative Extension in doing that. Again, the basic simple rules, we're going to encourage the chaperones to make sure that they adhere to the rules, that they've pre-talk to the young people about where they're going to be if there happens to be an emergency situation. They need to know what's going to happen if they don't follow the rules. If the dorm staff happens to find somebody breaking those kind of those rules, they're going to be addressed primarily through the chaperone or through the county educator, or in the case it's the sports people. But they wanted us to let them know that there will be zero tolerance as much as they possible as far as having any major violations. They will ask people to take and go home, and the troopers have been pretty adamant that the fact that we'll have to follow that, and State Fair is asking us to stay attuned with those. Other than that, we have the blue light system, which tells us if there's an emergency, somebody needs to push it. We'll discuss that both at the youth orientations and at the adult orientations. If a chaperone comes and is not there during the first evening of each rotation, they're responsible to come into the office downstairs, the youth office, or talk to the dorm office to review those rules, so that they can't say that they're blind to what's happening or what they're expected to do. I don't know that there's anything much different than that, but if somebody has some questions, we'd be glad to answer them.
Okay, so this is Nancy. We'll keep moving along from slide to slide, but if you have questions, please feel free to put them in the chat box, and we will stop and address them. Okay, so the next slide says educator roles at fair. So again, I can't emphasize enough that we can't run State Fair without educators up there, and we at the state office love to come to State Fair because we get to see all you guys. So we hope you'll be able to keep continuing to come. We know in some counties it's a challenge for the educator to be able to come, but it is important. So in the building, we have educators serving as key leaders, and those are really important roles. If you're not serving as helping with one of these areas and you'd like to, if you go to the staff web page and you can go down to youth, what is it called? Youth leadership, and there is a document called Key Leader Designees. And that tells you who the people in charge of all these different areas are. So if you want to help out, you contact one of those people, and we can always use help. And then, of course, the county booths are what makes our youth building work. Wouldn't be anything without county booths. So, you know, we like to have lots going on in the booth. It's great when you can bring teens up and people are there to have things going on in the booth. That's what really helps people see what 4-H is all about when they see it in action. Not just, people love to see the exhibits, but it's also great when they see 4-H members there and doing things.
And I'd like to just take a minute to pause to answer a question. And this question comes up every year. And the question is, if someone is not staying in the dorms, does the dorm staff want a copy of the dorm exception form? And Tom Dumas has the most experience with it.
The answer to that, Adam, the question is on the exception form is no. It does not go to the dorm office. But a copy should come to the youth office downstairs. And we're only going to keep a copy. The responsible copy has to be filed according to the P.W. Woods policy in the county office. Why I'm touching on that same point, and one that I failed to mention in the risk management, this year State Fair has put door buzzers on all the doors in the dormitory. The only one that won't have one, there are only two, I should say, are the two center doors where the people come and go. But I guess I would encourage everybody to let your folks know that if they exit or open one of the doors that goes out of the building or into the hallways or stairways, that will set off an alarm this year. And that'll just, even though that alarm is localized to that door, you need to know there are like 28 doors that have buzzards, and there will be an opportunity to draw attention to what we don't want to happen anyways.
Thanks, Tom.
So the next section, the next slide is about team leadership, which we're hoping Tom Davis is going to address.
Can you hear me?
We didn't get a chance to check our sound with Tom Davis, so we're hoping it'll work.
You're up, Tom.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Is that a stupid question? Go ahead, Tom.
We have 144 days budgeted for the junior supers in the youth building, and those are all full. We actually do have four young people who are, I guess you could say, are alternates this year. So we're very pleased that we have a good crew coming back, and also a good group of new junior superintendents. You'll be able to identify them by those yellow vests. In the picture you'll see that's Delaney from Livingston County. Delaney will be one of the junior supers coming back this year. That you'll be able to identify them by the yellow vests that they wear. And they will be working shifts throughout the entire fair to help you with any things that you need, anything that, if you're lacking anything in the booth, if you have any questions, if you can't find either myself, Nancy, Tom, or someone else, you can start with them, and you'll find them to be very, very helpful. team leaders. We just looked at that yesterday in terms of where we're at after the deadline. We're actually a little bit ahead of where we were last year at this time, but we still have some holes to fill. I would say it's safe to say that we definitely need more team leaders working in the evaluator role. We could always use more teen evaluators. Right now, I would say the only thing really full right now is in the second time period. We really have enough kids in the poultry and in the press corps area this year. Other than that, all the other areas, we can certainly take a few extra kids. So if you do have some kids that are looking for that experience, and I think you'll find that a lot of the kids that go to State Fair will go again and again because it is a great experience for them, and they enjoy their team leadership opportunities that they have. Are there any questions about the team leadership roles at Fair? Say that again?
I think that was just background noise. So
okay.
Tom, one question is, so if somebody comes to be a teen evaluator, they don't need to work all 4 days necessarily, is that correct?
That is correct. Some of the different judging is only done for 1 day. Horticulture, the engineering area is only done for 1 day. So often one of the nice things for some of the teen evaluators is they can do a variety of different things. They may work for the first day, they may work with the horticultural judge, and then the next day we might have them help with the arts and objects judge, or maybe photography really is something that's taken off, so that visual communications is something that we can have them do. If they only wanted to do 1 day, we can certainly work that out as well. So.
And then we have another question in the chat box about, and I had the same question when Tom Dumas was talking about the new buzzers on the doors. Someone asked, is there signage on the doors stating if it opens in the night a buzzer will go off? Are we warning people, do not open this door because an alarm will go off?
That's a good question. We have asked Mel to have Nick Pirro make those signs so that each of those doors will be listed as emergency exit doors. Hoping that they're going to get put up. She promised that they would be. But we'll know when we get there, unfortunately.
Okay, because that'll be important so that we at least give them a warning.
Yes. The other, go back to Tom's question or the discussion on teen leaders. Folks need to also know that teen leaders are expected to work approximately 6 hours a day. That's what we asked for in the book. That means that a youth cannot collect 2 different team leader roles in the same day. When we found a number of list their young people as a part of the hosting their group, and then finding out that they're also trying to count them in another one of the key activities or leadership activities, and they can't do that. They can only do 1 each day.
But it also means that they have time to do other things, so it doesn't have to take, they can be a team leader and still have some time to do other things.
That is correct, and that's the advantage of being a team leader.
Folks, if you're not speaking, could you please press *6 and mute your phone? We're getting some background noise from someone's cell phone ringing.
Okay, so we have Jennifer Jensen. We were hoping that you would talk to us about some of the things on this slide.
Okay, please understand that I am filling in for Pam Castro, who was not available today for this meeting, and Pam actually is the staff person in charge of evaluation at the fair. First of all, I know this is the county. That's up to you. Many counties together with their people or teams or whatever that are going to State Fair. And, it's just one of the ideas, and that's why we have it up on the screen. Selecting exhibits for State Fair, certainly that is done in your counties. Selecting exhibits that represent your county program. These include exhibits by individuals, as well as club exhibits and 4-H activities. Preparing your exhibits. Number one, most important, please read the fair book. The rules do change. We put a lot of work in over the season through the winter, getting the fair book updated, changing classes, and there are some new ones this year, and I'm going to make reference to them in a couple seconds. The thing to remember is we're all traveling to State Fair. Pack your exhibits well. Tell your 4-Hers to pack them well. You would hate to have ceramics get up there and be broken because, you know, a box got dropped on the way. Tell your kids to do that, to think that they need to pack things better. Make sure that their entry cards are attached well. We just did our county fair and the comment was made, I don't think people know what safety pins are anymore. The cards have holes in them so that it's very easy to put a safety pin through them, string through them. Somehow they need to be attached well to the exhibit. Not only for travel and you putting them into your display, but they're going to be moved to the judging area. Many of the projects are going to be moved to a judging area at State Fair, and we don't want to be losing cards along the way. The presentation of the exhibit is important. More and more, we're hearing that from the judges, that sometimes the difference between a red and a blue ribbon at State Fair is the way it's presented. And especially small items. Think about their safety, how secure you have them. Maybe you want them exhibited in like a box with foam and then a clear top. I know that the arts judges are looking for that with jewelry. They really look as jewelry is a new exciting area that kids are doing lots of exhibits in. We need to have them securely exhibited for the fair and so that they look nice for the presentation. One of the things that State Fair is requiring and requesting us is to take off all ribbons and identification from other fairs. So if you, come in with your things, don't have rosettes on them from your county fair, because what Mel Chesbrough and the State Fair office, they want everything recognition-wise in our booth to be State Fair recognition, so there's nothing misleading when the public goes through. There are specific classes in the fair, and I just want to hit a couple of these that have come up as problems in the last couple of years, or questions and concerns. First of all, in the foods area, we do not accept any recipes that have alcohol in them, except vanilla is an exception. Recipes, we don't want you to leave that good taste of vanilla out of it, but any recipe that calls for alcohol should not be something that is exhibited at State Fair. Also, be sure your 4-Hers, if they're exhibiting foods, remember the recipe card. Another thing that we have had a little issue with the last couple of years, a recipe or an entry is only for one class. So if you are bringing up a muffin, you are exhibiting that in a muffin class in food. You are not putting that in 2 classes. So you can't exhibit a muffin and then also exhibit it in the Produced in New York. It's got to be in one class and one class only. And the preserved foods, these are little highlights that are in the State Fair book. Preserved foods, you need to be sure that they are from a recipe from 1994 or newer, and that the exhibit is labeled with the product and the date process. The fine arts and crafts area, this is not an area for kits. It is an area that we call it the fine arts and fine crafts, because these exhibits are all designed by the exhibitor. Again, read the rules in that area. There are no recycling exhibits accepted in the fine arts and crafts. They go in the environmental ed division. And that division wants to have a little more explanation with it. So be sure that anything recycled-wise you put into that area. There, as I mentioned, there are some new jewelry classes in the fair book, so take note. I believe some of them are for beginning kids, and some are for more advanced objects and exhibits. Again, think about the display of these exhibits and how secure, because that is part of the presentation. The clothing area, we have divided that out through the last couple of years. There's sections for wearable art, there's sections for sewn clothing, there's non-clothing like tote bags and things like that. If somebody has done a simple sewing project like a pillowcase or quilting and things like that, they go in the home environment area. Visual arts, and Tom talked about how popular that is. The photography exhibits need to be mounted on something sturdy. There are no commercial frames accepted at State Fair with an exhibit. The other thing is that each visual art picture needs to be ready to be hung. They also need titles and captions. And I think pretty much the other areas in the fair book, you know, are pretty self-explanatory. Again, talking about displaying your exhibit, we all know we have toolboxes full of exhibit materials that we take to our county fair, being it string or tape or a hammer and staples and staple guns, scissors. Be sure you bring those things to State Fair. I know we have a lot of people on the webinar today that are new to 4-H staff or new to going to State Fair, and you know, you do need those things throughout the week and to set up your exhibit. I believe that in one of the staff handbooks there might even be a toolbox list in there of suggestions of things to take to State Fair. We added a master list to this slide because on the website, on the link or the page that Nancy was showing, there is a master list, and this is very important for the evaluation portion of State Fair, as well as for Tom Dumas with numbers that he has to give to State Fair administration. You pull up this link and it lists there is a page for every section in the fair book. And you need to list on there all the exhibits that you are taking to State Fair. I know what we do here in Ontario County is we know all of the exhibits already that we have requested to go to State Fair. We have filled the master list out, and then I check it as the exhibits come in, and then it's very easy to delete an exhibit that isn't here at the last minute. We need 2 copies of that for the office, for the evaluator office that Pam runs at State Fair. That is not the office where Tom Dumas is. It's across the hall by the door that goes out to the Indian Village. And you as the educator will want to have a copy for yourself. I know myself with my copy, I record the awards the kids did on there. There is a space on there where I check off that we've packed something to go to State Fair. I also check it when we pack to come home so that I know I've got everything with me. The new thing this year is the exhibitor entry form and the entry card. And let me spend a couple minutes or a minute talking about that. You should have all received a green card when you got your State Fair books and things from Mary Ellen Dano. This is the card that we're using this year. The reason we have to do this with the card stock is because they have to have a permanent way to count exhibits and give us our premiums and things at the State Fair office level. So on here is just the bare minimum information that needs to be, that Mary Ellen needs in the office. Again, it needs to be signed by the educator. The evaluators will be looking for that. If it's not signed, they will be put back to your booth and ask you to sign it because they can't judge it without that signature. But this is all information that is important to the evaluator to look at as far as the birth date, how old is the child. But that's how the office, the evaluation office, also records the section and the class number. This year, because kids are saying, there have said in the past, 4-H members have said, I don't want to exhibit because I don't like to fill out the green card. So we've tried to step up with technology, and we have developed the exhibitor entry statement. These are all links on the State Fair website page for 4-H on our state page. And this is a form that they can, you pull it up on your computer, they can either print it off and fill it out by hand, or they can type it. The questions that are there are 5 questions, and there is a space there on the form on the computer that's big enough to answer the question with what needs to be done. There's enough room there so that all they have to do is answer the question, hit print it off, attach it to the green card, attach that permanently or securely to their exhibit, and it's ready to go to State Fair. The other thing about the judging process, I want to step back to that. If you are a county who has your exhibits judged, there is only one judge that will be doing an entire section of your fair, of your exhibit. So if you have foods exhibits, and foods exhibits are another exhibit that we do on Monday. Monday, the first day of the fair, is very busy with flowers and vegetables and science and technology and foods exhibits. All of your exhibits will go to the same foods judge. We don't split them between judges so that you are getting the opinion and the judging from one particular judge for all one area. As those exhibits come back to your booth, please, as educators, read the comments on the card. Make sure that the comments justify the ribbon. Sometimes there's a judge's sheet, it's marked all excellent, and by just a mistake, the exhibit might have got a red ribbon on it. So do take a minute, take it apart. That's why you want to have a hand stapler with you to staple it back together. But do look at the comments and make sure that you understand those comments. As Tom said, we do need more teen evaluators. So if you've got kids that are interested in those areas, please, you know, get in touch on the website with Tom Davis, and because the teen evaluators are the people that transport the exhibits back and forth from booths to the judging area, and we do need more so that the judging can get done faster, and that way when people come to State Fair, their exhibits are already going to be judged and have ribbons on them. So I know, as I said before, there's a lot of new people. I would be more than happy to have you, email me, call me here in Ontario County, and I would be glad to answer any questions and help you have a positive time at the State Fair with your evaluation.
That was great. Thanks, Jennifer. Tom Davis, do you want to talk to us a little bit about county booths?
I do. For the judge that we had.
Hang on just a second, Tom.
Out on me because he got a new job. I did have a hotel. It was John Weicker.
He's not muted. Tom Davis, the ball's in your court.
I didn't hear the question.
Okay. Would you like to take over and talk to us a little bit about the county booths?
Oh, sure. I thought the question. Yeah. It's basically there are the 3 days when you can come in to set up your booth. The first group that comes in before usually can come in before the fair and has to be set up by 8:30. I think they actually, all 3 of them, they have to be set up by 8:30 in the morning of the first day of the shift. So most of the groups that come in, counties that come in the first shift will come in on that Wednesday before the fair. The next group will come in, the second shift will come in on the Sunday, And that can be a little bit hairy in terms of getting people in and out, because we do have a limited area behind the youth building in terms of getting people in and out. So, please give yourself a little bit of extra time. Understand that area behind the youth building is actually property of the Indian Nation. Hello?
You're still there, Tom.
Okay, good. Watch that, and then the last group comes in over Labor Day weekend. There is a release time that each of the counties will follow, and we do have that on. Do we have that on the website, Adam?
It sure is. I could bring it up if you like.
Yeah, if you would do that, that would be good.
Okay.
It's important to follow that, because what we've tried to do, and State Fair has been very kind in terms of allowing us the flexibility to have counties move in and out at different times. That way we can try to control the chaos that occurs with counties leaving, getting out with those counties that are coming in. We do ask the counties that are leaving if they could just run a broom through their booth area. You can see on this rotation schedule when people come and when they go. We want, again, the second group arrive the evening of the 24th, and then the third group arrives the evening of the 28th. And you can see when the county, please look at when the county is that's leaving before you, that's going to be in your booth area, so that you don't get there before that. That works out pretty well. And again, that is something that the fair has been very kind to allow us to do, to sort of stagger those times. Any questions about that release coming in or the release? Make sure that you have an unloading permit. If you're coming in during the fair, make sure you have an unloading permit and you come in the designated gate to come in. You will be allowed to come in through that gate down by, I believe it's down by the beef barn, and that you will be able to get up next to the youth building so that you can unload. But again, that's limited. That area is policed to make sure that cars aren't parked there all day as well.
Jennifer, I want to make the point that there is no entering by the beef barn this year. You will be going way down to gate 11 and coming in.
Gate 11, that's right.
The beef barn is going to be exit only.
Yep.
Did Maggie or like Linda do them?
So again, make sure that you have your unloading permit and that everybody in your vehicle has the exhibitor passes to be able to get in to the grounds when that time comes. Manning your booth activities. Manning the booth and activities, new shared activity space. We do have some empty booths at different times. So if you're a county that has either a really large county activity that you're running, or you want to move to an emptier space to run your activity, we do have places available to be able to do that. In some cases, it's going to be an empty booth where we might just have a static exhibit set up, or it might even be another county booth where there is no activity going on. Though we do really like, and I think one of the highlights for the fair going public, and the reason our building does get so much traffic through it, are the different activities that go on in the different booths. And some of the counties have been very creative with very simple activities that the teams can lead and go through that. So I think Jen addressed the master list and Social Security number thing quite well. Just a reminder again, is it's very important to have those master lists and to make sure Mary Ellen Dano will give you a list of all the kids that she has social security numbers for. So if you need to get in contact with Mary Ellen, you can just let me know, and we can make sure that you can get to her to ask that. If it's a child that's already received a premium check in previous years, they won't need to have their social security number updated or sent in, of course. It's only the people who are in their first year exhibiting. Evaluating exhibits, again, Jen did a very, very good job of letting people know how important it is to package your exhibits well and to make sure it is really important that those entry tags are attached really well, because in the heat of August and early September, oftentimes those tags do fall off. And again, we talked about the rotation schedule as well. And again, it's important to make sure you take a look at when the county that's leaving, that is leaving the booth before you is when they're actually leaving, so that we try to avoid that traffic jam. Are there any questions about that, or other thoughts that maybe I missed? That was the note that I had.
Tom, this is Nancy. I just wanted to follow up on the activities. We do still have some activities available where supplies are provided, or sometimes there's some funding provided for you to buy materials. There is a list on the staff webpage where you can look and see. We just added some new activities that no one has claimed yet from Fiber Sciences, from Charlotte Kaufman. So that's still an opportunity. And then in that same place on the webpage where it talks about hands-on activities, there's a link to a survey where you can request if you want to do some of those activities. That is also the place where you request and sign up to use that shared space that Tom was talking about. So we are taking requests in advance, and those people will have the first dibs on that space if you make that request in advance.
And folks, Nigel's here with us, and he wants to talk a little bit about a new card that's in place for youth bringing some utensils into the fairgrounds.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'll be very brief. This was something that came up with Produced in New York last year, and now that they're searching bags at the gates, I think there was a little bit of trouble or just some questions when some food utensils were brought in, knives, et cetera, that the kids would be using. So we have prepared what are basically laminated luggage tag type cards that have a short statement with all of our logos that say, you know, the youngster, it'll say that they're participating in this contest. If you have any concerns about the items in the bag, you can just call the youth building office. And working with Tom and Tom, security will have a copy of these cards, so I don't anticipate there'll be any problems. I just wanted to say we created these for the Produced in New York kids. If you have any and just want to contact me or the youth office when you get up there, we'll have these available. But if you have other projects or anything else with any other programs or exhibits where you think this also might be a concern, we're happy to create more of these and get them out to you. Thank you.
Adam, this is Tom Dumas. I just got a couple of things that I was listening to everybody. I thought I might highlight. First of all, I think Jennifer made a very quick point that needs to be readdressed. That she said exit 10, which has been an exit in an entrance gate, is no longer going to be an entrance gate. And that's very, very important, because that's one of the main ones that we've always used. Those folks that are not familiar with the fairgrounds need to know that for the most part you're going to be entering gate 7, and then you would drive down to gate 11, drive all the way up the roadway to the youth building, do your delivery or pickup, and then exit through gate 10. That's a change. They are not going to let you come in that gate 10 down by the beef barn. And so please make sure. Another that misnomer is that many folks feel that since the driver has a ticket or an entry for their car, that everyone in the car gets in. But that's not necessarily true. You might get lucky and have a gate attendant that will be a little bit lax in letting you through, but basically everybody in the car must have their own entry to the entry pass and I'm not sure what the age is. I think 14 and under is free, but please make sure that everybody has their own pass. Otherwise, we get into some embarrassing situations and people being a little uptight about it.
Tom, it's 12 and under, except on Youth Day.
Okay, 12 and under. Okay. Another piece is that Jennifer talked about the master list. I always like to see that when the master list that's kept in the county exhibits, as an exhibit comes back and is judged, that the person working that county booth makes a note on the master list so that you can make sure everything is judged. Eventually what happens, or almost always what happens, is 1 or 2 items did not get checked off on a master list, did not get taken down and get judged, and just prior to the county leaving, they need to find somebody to come and judge it. That's not what we want to do. We would like to have them all judged by the proper judges and get them done at the time. So I think it really does pay off to use that master list to your advantage. I think Jennifer said that she likes to use it to make sure everything's going home. Do the same thing. Make sure everything gets judged. I think that's a real critical part. Another is that Jennifer mentioned on Monday, it's the first day of each rotation. It's the first day of every rotation. People need to have their exhibits in place, and that's the day that, like, foods and clothing are generally judged. Almost everything gets judged on the first day of the rotation unless we need to have it judged the next day. The part Tom talked about a little bit about the Native American land. The land that where we park in the back is all Native American. We are allowed to use the driveway, which is basically only the paved part. Please don't block that driveway. Don't pull up on the grass, and please don't leave your vehicles there all day. Do your delivery or pickup and then move them back to where they need to go. It's a hassle is when somebody comes in and finds one sitting there a long time, or when the Native American folks come in and tell me that we need to have it pulled. We don't like that. And I think that the last piece is that we do keep a file, if you would, or a box in the office, in the youth office, of which contains a few screwdrivers, a few hammers, some wires, some nails, some pliers and things. If you use them in extension cords also, if you can come in and sign them out, please sign them back in before you leave. Safe Fair is kind enough to allow us to have a small handful of supplies like that. We have to account for them when we first get there, and then we have to account for them before we leave the fair. So those are just a few extra ones I wanted to make sure get mentioned.
Hopefully we got everyone's questions answered about the gates. If there's still confusion, let us know. But we are differentiating. Nancy Caswell asked about the gate 7. So we're not talking about the gates coming off the main road. We're talking about the gates coming into the fairgrounds once you've gotten into the parking lot. So we're running short on time, so we're going to keep moving along here. But if you have questions, put them in the chat box. So we just have a few things left here. One thing that I thought of that I'm not sure if we've covered, as Tom was talking, was the orientations that take place the night before the first day of each time period. So those are really important. All the adults should attend that adult orientation. The kids should come to the other orientation. So those are really, really important. We want to make sure that everybody's in the building knows the rules, and especially knows about safety and fire and those kind of things. So it's really important that everybody attends those. So on this slide, we have the stage and the kitchen demo area. So there is a request. I think this was new this year. If you would need to use or would like to use the building for something beyond your booth, there is a survey form. You can go to the webpage, and it talks about there's a building schedule. You can look at that schedule to see when spaces might be available, like the stage and the kitchen, the demo area, and you can make a request. One thing I haven't seen this year is requests to have kids do public presentations, so I hope we'll see some come in, because those areas, we like to have those areas used all the time. We like to have things going on in the building. So if you have youth that would like to do presentations as an exhibit, you can make that request to use that space. We just need to find a time when it's available. We do have the monitor up in the building that we got last year. We're still working our way through figuring out the most effective ways to use that monitor. But if you have things, short things that showcase 4-H that you would like us to play on that monitor, if you have ideas of ways for us to use that, please let us know. The kitchen and the feed room will operate the same way they did last year. We do not have anyone in the main kitchen cooking for junior superintendents, just as we did not last year. So the junior superintendents do need to use that kitchen for their own meals, but it can be available for other purposes. Be sure you check with us and ask if you need that kitchen. And of course, the kitchen is also used on Produce in New York days, so it's busy on those days. And the feed room is available for storing food for counties. There's no food allowed upstairs in the dorm. Our theme this year is the power of youth, so if there's any ideas you have to make that visible in the building, we'd love to see ways that we showcase how much difference our young people make in their communities. And let's see, do we have a question?
No, it's
okay.
Up to the question.
Yeah. So if anybody has questions at this point, we're pretty much out of time, but I'm sure some of us are happy to stay on as long as anybody wants to stick around and ask questions.
Just one more quick one, Nancy. This year and last year also, we were able to close the building at 9 o'clock at night, closed to the public. And so from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., the building will be open to the public, but after 9, it'll be closed.
I just want to touch on the Social Security numbers again. If the youth have been exhibited at the state fair before, it's not necessary to bring their Social Security numbers to the fair. If it's a brand new exhibitor, then these need to be brought in a sealed envelope to the 4-H office. We really want to protect the identity of the youth as much as possible, and that's just a little bit of a risk area for us.
But the State Fair Administration is really cracking down on you need to get those Social Security numbers in by the end of fair. They are not going to wait for months and then issue a premium check. If you don't get it turned in, there won't be a premium check issued.
So if you do have a question, feel free to unmute your phone and jump right in. And I realize we covered quite a bit in a short amount of time.
Adam, this is Jennifer. I just want to reemphasize with the new entry card that there are two parts to it. It's the green card you received from the state fair, as well as the exhibitor entry statement that is found online that you fill out, again, either on the computer or by hand. That has to be attached to the green card in order to have the exhibit judged at state fair.
That's great, Jennifer. Let me see if I can call that right up.
So that's going to be really important. It's really important to not use any old green cards.
It's up at the top.
Up at the top.
Right there.
And while you're looking for that, Nancy and Adam, the same holds for the dorm registrations. Please only use this year's, which are the new adult and youth forms.
So what I'm showing you now is the new exhibitor entry statement. And as Jennifer said, you can go ahead and type right into this form, print it out, and bring it with you.
Or if someone doesn't want to type, copies could be made and they could fill it out by hand.
Correct. The important thing is that these are the questions that the judges are looking for the answers. And this statement, it's like the old card, that was the youth voice, you know, with they're not there to talk to the judge like they are at the county level. And so this is their way of telling the judge what they learned, how they put their exhibit together. And another thing, if anybody is doing sewing of any kind, be sure that the youth put down the pattern company and the number of the pattern. That is something that is on the State Fair clothing and textile judges sheet.
Thank you to all.
The other thing that I know that some counties have done that have been very helpful, it's a very simple thing, but is oftentimes counties will have a toolbox or a big Tupperware container that they just keep certain things in, an extension cord, a hammer. We do have some of that stuff like Tom said, but we don't have a lot of it. So if you keep one of those containers that the county has access to and put it behind your booth, that seems to work really well. It's sort of like a first aid kit for counties going to State Fair with just a bunch of different things, duct tape, masking tape, paper clip, string, that type of thing.
And Tom, the other thing that makes me think of is last year we did have a little bit of an issue with a county filling up a good part of their exhibit space with, you know how
right.
counties take the space behind, behind the drapes, and they keep things back there, and that's fine. We understand that you need to have some space to put stuff behind the drape, but we don't want you to bring the drape way up so that you are taking up half your exhibit space with something that's behind, that's a storeroom or a restroom, a place for kids to go back and rest. We want the exhibit space to be exhibit space for people to see. So I'm not seeing any new questions in the chat. We appreciate all the people that joined us today, Tom Dumas and Marty Dumas and Tom Davis and Jennifer Jensen for helping with this. We hope this is helpful. We will be posting a link to the recording if you want to listen to it again, or we certainly are going to be encouraging anyone who wasn't able to join us today to listen to this, and we hope we find it helpful. And we look forward to seeing all of you up at the State Fair.
In 2 short weeks.
That was depressing, Kate.
So we're going to sign off and stop recording, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks again, everyone.
Take care, everybody.